friends. Today I have 10 on the Sled. 10 on the Sled is by Kim Norman and the pictures are by Lisa Woodruff. On a sunlit night, 'neath a snowy moon, there was one on the sled, then two, but soon there were 10 on the sled, and the caribou said, "Slip over, slide over." So they all slid over. There were 9 on the sled, and the caribou said, "It's snowing, get going." So they all got going, but Hare hopped out. There were 8 on the sled, and the caribou said, "It's slicker, go quicker." So they all went quicker, but Sheep shot out. There were 7 on the sled, and the caribou said, "We're gliding, keep riding." So they all kept riding, but Walrus whirled out. There were 6 on the sled, and the caribou said, "We're lighter, hold tighter." So they all held tighter, but Fox flipped out. There were 5 on the sled, and the caribou said, "Great thunder, duck under." So they all ducked under, but Squirrel squeezed out. There were 4 on the sled, and the caribou said, "They're chasing, keep racing." So they all kept racing, but Wolf wiped out. Do you see all the other animals? They're in a snowball. There were 3 on the sled, and the caribou said, "They're winning, no spinning." So they all quit spinning, but Moose muddled out. There were 2 on the sled, and the caribou said, "Keep trying, we're flying." So they both kept flying till Bear bailed out. And there was 1 on the sled, and the caribou said, I'm lonely, I'm chilled to the bone. A reindeer likes flying, but never alone." So 1 through 10 all leaped on again for one more run and a little more fun in the moonlit land of the midnight sun. The I like to go sledding. Sledding is a fun winter activity. Another book I have, we have been reading about Martin Luther King Jr. because we celebrated that holiday on Monday. So this book is actually, the title of it is on the back. It's called Martin's Big Words, The Life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And it's by Doreen Report, and it's illustrated by Brian Collier. So now we are going to learn about his life. So Martin's Big Words. Everywhere in Martin's hometown, he saw signs, white only. His mother said these signs were all in all southern cities and towns in the United States. Every time Martin read the words, he felt bad, until he remembered what his mother told him. You are as good as anyone. In church, Martin sang hymns. He read from the Bible. He listened to his father preach. These words made him feel good. When I grow up, I'm going to get big words too. Martin grew up. He became a minister like his father, and he used the big words he had heard as a child from his parents and from the Bible. Everyone can be great. He studied the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi, and he learned how the Indian nation won freedom without ever firing a gun. Martin said love when others said hate. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. He said together when others said separate. He said peace when others said war. Sooner or later, all the people of the world will have to discover a way to live together. In 1955, on a cold December day in Montgomery, Alabama, Rosa Parks was coming home from work. A white man told her to get up from her seat on the bus so he could sit. She said no and was arrested. Montgomery's black citizens learned of her arrest. It made them angry. They decided not to ride the buses until they could sit anywhere that they wanted. For 381 days, they walked to work and school and church. They walked in rain and cold and blistering heat. Martin walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them until the white city leaders had agreed that they could sit anywhere they wanted. When the history books are written, someone will say, there lived black people who had the courage to stand up for their rights. In the next 10 years, black Americans all over the South protested for equal rights. Martin walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them, while ministers told them to stop. Mayors and governors and police chiefs and judges ordered them to stop, but they kept on marching. Wait! For years I have heard the word wait. We have waited more than 340 years for our rights. Many white Southerners hated and feared Martin's words. A few threatened to kill him and his family. His house was bombed. His brother's house was bombed, but he refused to stop. Remember, if I am stopped, this movement will not be stopped because God is with this movement. The marches continued. More and more Americans listened to Martin's words. He shared his dreams and filled them with hope. I have a dream that one day in Alabama, little black boys and little black girls will join hands with little white boys and little white girls as sisters and brothers. After 10 years of protest, the lawmakers in Washington voted to end segregation. The white-only signs in the South came down. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. cared about all Americans. He cared about where people were all over the world, and people all over the world admired him. In 1964, he won the Nobel Peace Prize. He won it because he taught others to fight with words, not their fists. Martin went wherever the people needed help. In April 1968, he went to Memphis, Tennessee. He went to help garbage collectors who were on strike. He walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them. On the second day there, he was shot and he died. His big words are alive for us today. The end. Thank you so much for joining me, friends. I hope you have a great weekend.